The Ugly Duckling. Mother Duck was sitting on her nest in the reeds. She had been waiting a long time for her ducklings to hatch, and at last the eggs began to crack. One by one, the ducklings struggled out. At last, there was only one egg left to hatch. This was the biggest egg of all. Suddenly, it cracked open, and out tumbled the biggest and ugliest duckling you have ever seen. Mother Duck took her family to the farmyard and told her brood that this was where they would live. All the ducklings were happy except the ugly one. The other ducks and hens pecked him and laughed at him because he was so ugly. Mother Duck taught her family to swim, and they all swam very well. Even the ugly duckling was good at swimming, but it did him no good at all because his brothers and sisters still laughed at him. The farmyard cat was very frightening, and he took a great dislike to the ugly duckling. "What a strange-looking creature you are," the cat hissed. The poor ugly duckling was ridiculed by all. At last, he decided to run away. "Life out can't be worse than it is on the farm," he told himself. The ugly duckling was lonely and sad. He wandered far away, across the fields and marshes. Suddenly, he heard the sound of guns being fired. Bang, bang, bang. It was a hunting party. More shots followed. Bang, 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 and a flock of wild geese flew up into the air. The terrified ugly duckling cowered down amongst the tall reeds. He hid himself away until he was sure that the hunters and their fierce dogs had all gone. Then he ran away as fast as his little legs would carry him. Darkness had fallen and the cold wind was blowing when the ugly duckling came upon a little cottage. The door of the cottage was broken and it did not close properly. There was a small crack just big enough for the ugly duckling to squeeze himself through. In the morning, the ugly duckling was found by a cat and a hen. They were the pets of the old woman who owned the cottage. The cat and the hen quickly ran off to fetch the old woman to meet their uninvited visitor. "What do we have here?" said the old woman, whose eyesight was not very good. "What kind of creature are you? Can you catch mice the way my cat does? Can you lay eggs for my breakfast the way my hen does? If you wish to live here, you must make yourself useful. Tell me what you can do." The ugly duckling couldn't think of anything that he could do, so off he left the cottage. The ugly duckling found a lake where he tried to make friends, but because of his ugliness, no one wanted to know him. Autumn came. The leaves turned brown and the sky turned grey. One evening, as the sun was setting, the ugly duckling saw a flock of beautiful birds flying overhead. Their plumage was dazzlingly white, and their necks were long and slender. They were swans. They were flying south to the warm countries. The ugly duckling wished that he could go with the swans. His feelings were so strong that he could hardly contain them. He made such a loud and strange cry that he almost frightened himself. Very soon, winter arrived. It was terribly cold, and the ugly duckling had to keep swimming around to prevent the water from freezing. One night, the ugly duckling was too exhausted to swim any longer, and he gave up. The ice formed around him, and he couldn't escape himself. It was a long, cold night, but eventually the morning came. A man passed by, and seeing the poor ugly duckling, he broke the ice and gently lifted him out. He tucked the ugly duckling inside his jacket to keep it warm and carried it home to his cottage. The man's wife and children were amazed to see the ugly duckling, and they were all very impressed that he managed to survive out in the frozen lake all night. When the ugly duckling revived, the man's children decided to play with him. They began to chase him around. They really didn't mean any harm, but the ugly duckling didn't know that. He was very frightened. He flew desperately around trying to find a place to hide. Finally, he flew into a barrel of flour. He made such a mess that the woman lost her temper and tried to hit him with a stick. Fortunately for the ugly duckling, the door was open and he flew outside. The ugly duckling spent the winter all alone, cold, hungry, and very miserable. But winter did not last forever, and spring eventually arrived. The warm sun began to shine. He shook his wings and flew up into the air. He had grown a great deal and he was much stronger than before. The ugly duckling looked down, and there he saw 3 beautiful swans gliding over the surface of a lake. He flew down and landed close by them. Then he looked down at the water and saw his own reflection. "I am a swan," he cried. "I am not an ugly duckling. I am a swan." "Yes, you are," agreed the other swans, "and a very handsome one too. Come and join us."